Hello everyone, in today's video I will be talking about another TOEFL topic which is related to the topic of passive meanings. And speaking about passive meaning, I think it's important to understand about this topic because sometimes in the TOEFL questions we need to identify whether the answer need a passive verb or an active verb. So before I give you the sample questions, these are some of the example of the sentences. Two sentences here. The first is an active, the sentence which has an active meaning. The second one is the sentence which has a passive meaning. The first sentence, Rita sent the letter yesterday. This is the active meaning. The verb uses, or the sentence uses verb one. Yes, verb two. Sent, since it occurred in the past. The second sentence, the letter was sent by Rina yesterday. This is the example of the sentence which has a passive meaning, and there are different type of forms of the passive verbs. Depends on the tenses. But what I can emphasize, the two main characteristics of passive verbs or the sentence which have passive meaning. The first one is the present of to be, like is, am, are, was, were, just like in the sentence. And the second one is the verb forms, which is the past participle form or verb 3. So these are the two main characteristics of passive verb. Another important feature that we need to pay attention whether the sentence require the passive verb is the existence of preposition after the verb, mainly the preposition by. Yeah. So let's look at the sample questions. Blanks discussed by the board of directors when it was proposed again by the supervisors. If we pay attention to this question or to the sentence, we can see that there is no subject in the sentence. That's why we need to find an option which has a subject. And if you look at the verb, there is a verb actually here which is discussed. But if we pay attention more closely, we can see that there is preposition after this verb, preposition by the board of directors, which indicate this sentence need a passive verb or a sentence which has a passive meaning. That's why we need to find the characteristic that I mentioned earlier, which is the to be and past participle form or verb 3 form. If we look at the options, these four options, A, B, C, there is no to be. That's why this option is wrong. B, there is to be problem, which is, and there is this verb 3, discuss. So the past participle form of the verb discuss is discussed with ed. So we can keep this option. Option C, there is also to be here, which is been, and the verb have discussed. So we're gonna keep this option. And option D is also wrong. Why it is wrong? Because just like option A, this option has no to be or be verb. That's why it is wrong. So it comes down to these two options. Problem had already been. The difference between these two options, option B is the form of the verb is present, and option C, the form of the verb is past, had been discussed. If we go back to the sentence, we can see that this sentence is a complex sentence. There are two clauses, and one of the clauses is in the past, was proposed. And normally, if the sentence which have two clauses, if one clause is in the past, usually the other clause should be in the past form. That's why with that parameter, with that indicator, we can conclude that the best option for this question is option C. The problem had already been discussed, since we need not only the passive verbs but also the simple past or past perfect form of the verb. Therefore, option B is also wrong, and the best choice is option C. So that's pretty much what I can discuss into this video, and see you in the next video.